When did you start choosing comfort over your own potential? Be honest. When did you begin negotiating with the alarm clock, delaying your goals, telling yourself that tomorrow will be different? There was a time when you felt fire inside, a time when you promised yourself you would become stronger, sharper, more disciplined. But slowly, without even noticing, comfort became your routine. Laziness does not attack you with force, it seduces you. It whispers that you deserve a break, that you have time, that one more scroll, one more excuse, one more delay will not matter. And in the moment it feels harmless, safe, even comforting, but every small act of avoidance is shaping you. Your brain is always watching what you do. Psychology calls it self-signaling. Every action sends a message about who you are. When you quit early, you tell yourself you are someone who quits. When you avoid discomfort, you teach your mind that you cannot handle pressure. Over time, these small signals build an identity, not the identity you dream of, the identity you practice. Miyamoto Musashi understood this truth centuries ago. He did not become legendary because he was comfortable. He became legendary because he refused to be weak. He trained in isolation. He embraced repetition. He sharpened his sword daily, but more importantly, he sharpened his mind. He knew that a man who cannot control himself will be controlled by everything around him. Right now, you may feel stuck, unmotivated, maybe even ashamed. You see what you could become, but you keep choosing what is easy, and the gap between who you are and who you could be is starting to hurt. That pain is not your enemy, it is a signal. Modern research on dopamine shows that when you constantly chase easy pleasure, junk food, endless entertainment, instant gratification, you lower your tolerance for effort. The hard things begin to feel impossible. Discipline feels heavy. Focus feels painful. You are not broken, you are conditioned, and conditioning can be reversed. But first, you must see the trap. Comfort feels good now, but it steals from your future. Every time you choose ease over effort, you trade long-term power for short-term relief. You are borrowing satisfaction from tomorrow and paying with regret. The world does not reward potential. It rewards consistency. It rewards the man who shows up when he is tired, who works when he does not feel inspired, who keeps promises to himself when no one is watching. Your feelings are not commands, they are suggestions. Weak men obey every emotion. Strong men build structure so emotions do not control them. Imagine what happens when you stop negotiating, when you wake up and do what must be done, regardless of mood. When you train your body even when it aches, when you focus even when your mind wants distraction. Something powerful begins to grow inside you, respect for yourself. And that is the reward waiting for you. Not just success, not just strength, but unshakable self-trust. The kind that changes how you walk, how you speak, how you look at the world. Stay with this message, because what comes next will show you how to break the comfort trap for good, how to rebuild your discipline, how to silence the weak voice inside you and replace it with something stronger. This is the moment you stop drifting. This is the moment you decide that comfort will no longer control your destiny. The moment you decide that comfort will no longer control your destiny, everything changes. But only if you understand one brutal truth. You cannot rely on motivation. Motivation is a feeling. And feelings are unstable. Some days you wake up energized. Other days you feel heavy, distracted, irritated. If your actions depend on emotion, your progress will always be inconsistent. And inconsistency is the breeding ground of weakness. A weak man says, "I don't feel like it today." A disciplined man says, "That doesn't matter." This is where the real transformation begins. Not when you feel inspired, but when you act despite not feeling inspired. Psychology calls this delayed gratification, the ability to sacrifice comfort now for reward later. Study after study shows that those who master this skill build stronger careers, stronger bodies, stronger lives. Not because they are more talented, but because they are more controlled. Miyamoto Musashi trained himself to remain calm in chaos. In battle, emotions could not be trusted. Fear could not be obeyed. Hesitation could not be entertained. 1 second of doubt meant defeat. So he practiced until discipline replaced emotion. You are in a battle too, not with swords, but with distractions, with impulses, with the version of you that wants ease. Your brain is wired to conserve energy. It will always suggest the easier path. That is survival instinct, but survival is not greatness. Survival is average. If you want more than average, you must override instinct with intention. Every time you act against resistance, you rewire your brain. This is neuroplasticity. The brain adapts to what you repeatedly do. When you push through discomfort, your tolerance for discomfort grows. When you avoid it, your tolerance shrinks. You are either training strength or training weakness. There is no neutral. Discipline is not punishment, it is structure. It is deciding in advance who you are and how you operate. You wake up at a set time, you train at a set time, you focus when it is time to focus. Not because you feel perfect, but because you decided. Decision removes debate. And debate is where weakness lives. When you argue with yourself in the morning, you drain energy. When you negotiate with your responsibilities, you create cracks in your identity. But when your standards are non-negotiable, your mind becomes quiet. There is nothing to discuss. There is only execution. This is emotional mastery, not suppressing emotion, but refusing to let it lead. Courage is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is repetition. It is showing up again and again when no one applauds you. It is doing the work in silence until your results speak. Stop chasing motivation videos. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Build systems so strong that even your worst day cannot break them. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. So build habits that make weakness impossible. Train your body daily, protect your focus, guard your time. Speak with intention, move with purpose. When resistance appears, recognize it as a signal you are close to growth. The discomfort you feel is not a warning to stop. It is proof that you are expanding. Each time you win that internal fight, even in something small, you grow stronger. You begin to trust yourself. And self-trust is power, not loud power. Not arrogant power, quiet, controlled, dangerous power, the kind that cannot be shaken by mood, the kind that does not collapse under pressure, the kind that builds a life most men only talk about. That power is built today, not when you feel ready, but right now in the middle of resistance. That power is built today, not when you feel ready, but right now in the middle of resistance. Because resistance is the doorway. The discomfort in your chest when you face a hard task, the tension in your body when you want to quit. The voice in your head that says, "This is too much." That is the exact moment that decides who you become. Most men step back when it gets hard. They interpret pain as a stop sign. But pain is not a stop sign. It is a test, and every test is an opportunity to grow stronger or stay weak. Miyamoto Musashi believed that hardship was necessary. He did not train only when conditions were perfect. He trained in isolation, in discomfort, in repetition so boring and demanding that most men would have quit. He understood something simple and brutal. Comfort dulls the blade, hardship sharpens it. Your mind works the same way. Psychologists call it stress inoculation. When you expose yourself to controlled difficulty, you build resilience. Small voluntary struggles prepare you for larger battles. But when you avoid all discomfort, your threshold drops. Simple challenges feel overwhelming. Pressure feels unbearable. Avoidance feeds anxiety. Action destroys it. Every time you avoid a hard conversation, it grows heavier in your mind. Every time you skip a workout, the next one feels harder. Every time you delay your work, your confidence shrinks. Avoidance does not protect you, it weakens you. Your brain cannot tell the difference between danger and growth. It sends fear signals before a presentation, before a cold shower, before a bold decision. The heart beats faster. The palms sweat. The mind looks for escape, but fear does not mean you are incapable. It means you are stretching beyond your comfort zone. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite fear. There are two kinds of pain in this life, the pain of effort and the pain of regret. One burns in the moment and fades into pride. The other stays quietly in your chest for years. The pain of staying the same is subtle. It shows up when you see someone else succeed and feel envy. It shows up when you look in the mirror and know you are capable of more. It shows up late at night when you realize another day passed without progress. That pain is heavier than any workout, heavier than any discipline, so choose your pain wisely. When you step into discomfort on purpose, something changes inside you. You begin to trust yourself. You realize that you can survive intensity, that you can push through fatigue, that you are not as fragile as you thought, and that realization is transformational. Weak men search for shortcuts. They look for hacks, tricks, easy wins. Strong men build endurance. They understand that mastery is repetition, that strength is earned through friction, that growth demands sacrifice. Stop asking why it is hard. It is hard because it matters. The gym is hard because strength matters. Focus is hard because excellence matters. Discipline is hard because greatness matters. Each time you choose the harder option, you carve a new identity. Brick by brick, decision by decision, you become someone who does not fold under pressure. And once you taste that version of yourself, the capable, resilient, controlled version, comfort loses its appeal. Because you finally understand where real power lives, not in ease, in resistance. Not in ease, in resistance. And resistance is where the weak version of you begins to die. There is a part of you that loves excuses, a part that protects your ego. A part that says, it's not the right time, you're too tired, you'll start next week. That voice feels like comfort, but it is decay. It keeps you small, it keeps you average. It keeps you safe from failure, but also safe from greatness. If you want transformation, that version of you cannot stay in control. Miyamoto Musashi taught that the greatest battle is not against an opponent. It is against your own undisciplined mind. The sword is only a symbol. The real weapon is self-mastery. Without it, skill means nothing. Talent means nothing. Potential means nothing. You do not rise because you wish to. You rise because you decide to. Identity drives behavior. Psychology proves this again and again. When you see yourself as weak, you act weak. When you see yourself as disciplined, you act disciplined. Most men try to change their results without changing their identity. They set goals but keep the same habits. They want strength but protect their comfort. That is why they stay stuck. Stop saying, I'm trying to be better. Trying is fragile. Trying leaves room for retreat. Decide instead, I am becoming disciplined. Speak it, think it, act like it. Your brain listens to your words. Language shapes belief. Belief shapes action. Every promise you break to yourself weakens your self-trust. And without self-trust, confidence is fake. But every promise you keep, even small ones, builds internal power. When you say you will wake up early and you do it, you win. When you say you will train and you finish it, you win. These small victories compound. Consistency beats intensity. Always, you do not need one perfect week. You need controlled days stacked on top of each other. You need standards that do not change with mood. Wake up when you said you would. Do the work you planned, train your body, protect your focus. No drama, no negotiation. Weakness survives on negotiation. The weak man inside you looks for loopholes. He wants comfort disguised as logic. He says you deserve a break you did not earn. He says one missed day does not matter. But patterns begin with single decisions. Starve that voice. Feed the version of you that acts with integrity, the version that moves even when tired. The version that chooses long-term respect over short-term pleasure. Ask yourself one question throughout the day. What would a strong man do right now? Then do that, even if it feels small. Especially if it feels uncomfortable. Strength is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built in private choices, in quiet discipline, in unseen effort. 1 year from now, you will live with the consequences of today's standards. Either you will thank yourself for stepping up, or you will resent yourself for shrinking back. No one is coming to save you. No perfect moment is coming. No sudden wave of motivation will transform your life. But a decision will. A decision to kill excuses, to kill delay. To kill the story that says you are not capable. You are capable, but capability without action is wasted. Stand up internally. Tighten your standards. Move with intention. Protect your future self from your present weakness. And every single day, choose to become the man your comfort fears. And every single day, choose to become the man your comfort fears. Because comfort should fear you. It should fear your discipline, fear your consistency, fear your refusal to bow to temporary emotion. The moment you stop entertaining excuses, your entire posture toward life changes. You walk differently. You think differently. You decide faster. You hesitate less. The weak version of you survives on delay. He says, later. The strong version acts now. This is where identity is rebuilt. Your brain is constantly updating its model of who you are. Every repeated action strengthens a neural pathway. When you act with discipline, you carve that pathway deeper. When you act with laziness, you reinforce weakness. Over time, what was once hard becomes automatic. This is how transformation becomes permanent. Miyamoto Musashi did not rely on bursts of intensity. He relied on daily refinement. He studied strategy, practiced technique, observed his own mind. He treated self-mastery as a lifelong discipline. He understood that the true enemy was internal hesitation. You face that same enemy. It shows up when you reach for your phone instead of your goals, when you soften your standards to match your mood, when you lower the bar so you can step over it without effort. Raise the bar. Not for the world, for yourself. You say you want respect. Respect begins with self-respect, and self-respect is built when your actions align with your words. When you say you will do something and you do it. When your private behavior matches your public ambition. Integrity is power. It creates a quiet confidence that cannot be faked. You no longer need validation. You no longer need applause. You know who you are because you have evidence. Evidence built through repetition, through effort, through controlled choices. Stop waiting to feel confident. Confidence is the result of kept promises. Every hard task you complete becomes proof that you can handle pressure, proof that you can endure discomfort. Proof that you are not fragile. Fragility comes from avoidance. Strength comes from exposure. Expose yourself to discipline daily. Cold mornings, focused work, honest self-reflection. Difficult conversations. Each one chips away at the weak identity and replaces it with resilience. You are not a victim of your past laziness. You are the architect of your future standards. The past does not define you. Your next decision does. Right now there is a line in front of you. On one side is the familiar pattern. Delay, excuse, comfort. On the other side is discipline. Structure, growth. The line is thin. It is crossed with a single action. Do the task you have been avoiding. Finish what you started. Show up fully, not tomorrow, now. Because momentum is built in moments like this. When you choose strength in real time. When you override the old script and write a new one with action. The world does not need another man who talks about potential. It needs men who execute. Men who control themselves, men who build instead of complain. Become that man. Silence the weak voice with proof. Replace hesitation with movement. Replace softness with structure. Replace comfort with controlled challenge. And when you look back months from now, you will not recognize the man who once negotiated with laziness. You will see someone sharper, calmer, stronger, not because life got easier, but because you stopped being weak.